One of the first signs that I did learn as a child was good morning. And I got to tell you, as a kid, I was so excited that I could communicate that the very next family reunion, I went up to everybody and I signed, good morning. I guess you can say they're not morning people. Now, lip reading is my main source of communication. I do go up to people sometime and say, excuse me, but I do lip read, and I usually get this. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I have a degree in dentistry and I'm lip reading their cavities or something. Do you ever lip read your grandpa when he takes his teeth out? It's like lip reading a little butthole.
Oh my God.
And I spent a good 13 years with some of the top speech therapists in this country just learning how to talk so people would understand me, and now they all think I'm from New York. My hearing impairment is not my handicap. Being sexually frustrated, now there is a handicap.
Oh my God, that's hella funny.
I've not had a date in 3.5 years. Now, I don't know if it's because I haven't heard the phone ring or what. But I too would like to hear what my man says to me at night, but I just can't hear for shit in the dark. So I wear a little miner's cap with a bright white light right here. Tell me you love me. Put your lips in the light. Say it. I love you. Can imagine what masturbation's like. I can only use one hand while the other one moans and groans. I'll explain it to you later, Mom. One of my favorite things that I love is when a man kisses me on the neck. Oh, yeah. Works his way up to my ear, sticks his tongue in my ear, and gets electrocuted. Anybody did dating online? Any dating online? Really? Did you get anything? You got a couple? I got idiots. I'm not kidding you. I tried the dating online. This guy actually wrote me and he said, no lie, he said, let's skip the date, go get some alcohol, sex toys, and a hotel. Can you believe that? I thought, what an idiot. I have a house. I'm not dating somebody who can't budget. You guys want to hear some good news? Me too, what do you got? You know I travel all the time, right? And I work with a lot of amazing people. You guys know who Howard Stern is? See, I didn't know who he was. I can't hear a radio. I can hear music because I can feel the vibration of music. But if somebody is talking on the radio, I don't understand what they're saying. So basically, I'm waiting for Sony to come out with a radio with big floppy lips. Anyway, this man talked dirty. Did you know that? All he talked about was sex, 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 sex. I did not know you could do that on the radio. Boy, I wish I could hear a radio. He kept asking me personal questions. So who you getting it on with? Who you dating? Are you married? No, Howard, I'm deaf. I'm not dumb. He even asked me if I would date a man with a disability. I said, I'd consider going out with you. Did you know you're not allowed to swear on the radio? Did you know that? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know this. If you can't hear radio, you don't know what the rules are. I had said the word shit. See, that's my favorite word. You know why? It took me a very long time to learn how to say the SH's. They taught me how to do my SH sound with a candle. And because when you're deaf, you can't breathe. Your diaphragm is very shallow. Most deaf children can't even blow out their own birthday candles because we haven't exercised that muscle. So they would put a candle in front of me for me to go shh until the air would hit the flame. My flame was just like, you ain't getting me. So I would try to blow the candle. So it took me a long time to get my SH. And then it took me a little while to get the T. So once I got the SH and the T, I got my shit together. And I love it because you can say it so many different ways. You know what I mean? It's like, ah, shit. But my favorite is when you go, oh, shit. That's my favorite. So anyway, I'm on the radio show and I had said the word shit. Well, Howard had this panic look on his face, but I didn't understand what was wrong. So all of a sudden he said, he was covering up for me and he said, oh, she said the word sit. No. I said shit. I'm saying the word sit. No. I can say sit. I said shit. In the meantime, there's this girl named Robin and a guy named Gary, and they're waving at me for me to see their faces so I could see their lips, and they're going, you can't swear on the radio. Ah. Oh, life is precious, isn't it? I went to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was in a hotel called the Choo Choo. Oh, yeah. I was at a hotel called the Choo Choo. I still have issues with racism in this country, okay? The hotel clerk hits the bell for my bellhop to come and get my bag. My bellhop was a skinny, little black man. 70, 80-something years old. His name was John. Coming up to the thing. That's my bellhop. Bow-legged as I've ever seen on a human being. He had the speed of a turtle, and his pants was hiked up to here. Ma'am, my name is John, and my job is to get you back to your room. John, honey, my bags are bigger than you. That's okay, John, I can take my own bag, no problem, honey. No, ma'am, it's my job to get you back to your room. I said, John, sweetheart, by the time you get my bag to my room, my plane will be taken off again. No, ma'am, I get them there by Thursday. Now, I didn't feel right about letting this gentleman take my bags. But then again, who am I to take his job away from him? Probably the very thing that's keeping him going, right? So I thought, you know what? I got wheels on my bags. So I told him, I said, you know what, John? I got wheels on my bags. I can take my own bags, sweetheart. He goes, no, ma'am, I know. It's your job to get my bag to my room. So I grabbed my bag with one hand, stuck John under my armpit, and walked out the lobby. I fell in love with John. He was this beautiful old soul. And every time I go down the lobby, I see John. Hey, John, how you doing, John? I'm grabbing him, I'm hugging him, I'm kissing him all over his little face. He's like, get the white woman off of me. On the third day, John looks at me square in the eye and goes, ma'am, do you know I was black? Okay, John, when did this happen? I go, does it hurt? Do you know what he said? He looked at me with them big old beautiful brown eyes and he said, sometime. He goes, what about you, ma'am? I go, what do you mean, me? He said, being deaf and all. He goes, does it hurt? Yeah, John, sometimes, honey. He goes, ma'am, you can't be kissing on me like that. Down here, people are going to be talking at you. I go, that's okay, John, I'm deaf. I ain't going to hear a damn thing they say. All anybody ever wants out of life is to be treated with respect. But in order to be treated with respect, you have to be able to give it. And in order to give it, you have to have it for yourself, first and foremost. Otherwise, you won't have to get to share. That's simple. Isn't that true? We all pass judgment. And 9 times out of 10, when we pass a judgment, it's a negative concept, correct? Well, I passed a judgment on a very lovely lady. I was invited to Washington, D.C. to perform at the Kennedy Center for some kind of award presentation. When I got there, the stage manager of the show asked me to go into the green room. He said, I need to be quiet in this room because the noise from this room can travel onto the stage. Now, I myself have never seen noise travel. They say this stuff happens, I go along with it. I go into the green room, and in the green room is a woman. My first judgment I passed upon her was, my gosh, what kind of a life is this? She can't move, she can't walk, she can't talk. She had nothing to contribute to society. In 5 seconds or less, I had this woman pegged for death, me. But me being who I am, I went up to her and I said, hi. How you doing? She started to open her eyes. At first, I was taken back. I was like, oh, shit, no, what did I do wrong? Hello, how are you? And her eyes started to open up really wide. When her eyes got really wide, her assistant came by. And she said, when she opens her eyes, it means yes. When she closes her eyes, it means no. I said, great, I spent my whole life learning how to read lips, and I got to go to school for some freaking eyelids over here. The woman in the wheelchair started to laugh. It was a horrendous sound. It was this, But to me, it was the most beautiful sound I ever heard. I realized right then and there, I can communicate with her. Now, what better person to tell all your jokes to than somebody who cannot heckle you? So here you have me and Ruth in the middle of this green room, and all you can hear is this, And I'm going, come on, Ruth, let's get some dancing shoes on. Let's get out of here. And she's, Stage manager screaming, get the deaf broad away from the quad. That night, Ruth received an award. She wrote 2 top-selling books with the blink of an eye. With today's technology, she too has a computer. It's called a wood board. They hook it up to the chest. The wire goes to the eyelids. When the letters blink that she wants, she blinks her eyes. It goes into the computer. 2 top-selling books. I haven't even read a book then. I graduated from high school with a 1-point average. Nobody bothered to tell me we were collecting points. That night after the show, Ruth had a computer printout for me, and it said on it, thank you so much for making me laugh, but more than anything else, thank you for treating me as an equal to anyone else. And I took that piece of paper and I wrote on the back of it, and I handed it to her. I said, there, that's your bill for the entertainment. She's, Around the corner comes a gentleman in a wheelchair. He has cerebral palsy. He has no front teeth. Me being who I am, what the hell are your teeth? Man starts to laugh. It's her husband. She's married. I couldn't believe it. I looked her square in the eye and I said, you know what, Ruth? I came in here tonight and I thought to myself, my gosh, what kind of a life is this? Only because I didn't think I could live it if I was in your situation. Here you wrote 2 top-selling books. I don't like to read. You're married. I can't even get a date. I said, I hope you get pink eye. Is that wrong? That's not wrong, right? The moral of the story is, please don't pass judgment upon someone you wouldn't want passed upon yourselves, because believe me when I tell you, there's no limits to what we can possibly do with our lives. How many of you would like to hear the truth about Ruth? I'll give you a small version of the truth about Ruth. You want to hear it? Okay. That night, when I walked in there, it was a black tie affair. It was in the green room. Everybody was dressed to the nines, having champagne, hors d'oeuvres, and Ruth was pushed up against the wall. Now, Ruth wasn't in a regular wheelchair. What she had is what they call a reclining wheelchair. See, she was born able-bodied, but at 5 weeks old, she contracted some rare disease, and it locked her body. She ended up with cerebral palsy so severe that it literally locked her body. Her little legs were crossed like this. Her feet were curling the other way. Her hands were locked in front of her. Her head was in a brace, like this. Her mouth was always open. She had these big crooked teeth, but none in the front. I think that's why she married her husband. So she's like this, in a reclining chair, right? I walk in and she's pushed up against the wall. Now, I know what it's like to feel rejected from society over something I have no control over. So my nature is to go to that person and make them feel comfortable. It's just who I am. Doesn't make me nice, because I'm really a bitch. Hey, you heard the definition from Tabitha. I'm that kind of bitch. So when I went up there and I said, hi, how are you? And she didn't answer me, I panicked. I thought the least she could do was communicate. And so what I did is I stepped back and I saw the room and all the people that ignored her, and I thought to myself, do I have to be like everybody else in the room? So when I went up to her and I said, hi, how are you? For the second time, that's when her assistant came up. Something happened. When her assistant explained to me how she communicates by blinking her eyes, but when I said what I said and Ruth laughed, I no longer saw the body. I saw the spirit that was in that body. It's amazing how we pass judgment on a body that's crippled and assume because the body's crippled, so is the mind. Just remember, whenever you pass judgment on someone, it doesn't define them, it defines you. Ruth was institutionalized for over 30 years of her life. They assumed because her body was crippled, so was she. For 30 years, she had a very active mind. For 30 years, they kept her in that chair and never gave her any credibility. One day, a new nurse came on staff. She was telling a joke to the other nurse, and Ruth started to laugh. And the other nurse panicked. You see, Ruth had to have a shot anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day for muscle relaxer just so she could breathe. That was her life. So when she panicked, the nurse started to go get the syringe. And the new nurse said, no, wait a minute. And she said another joke, and Ruth did the same sound again. And they realized she was comprehending what was being said when she laughed. That's when they started working with blinking her eyes. But 30 years in a mental institution where she was being physically abused by mental patients because they didn't know any better, but she can't move in her chair. Ruth had a dream. Can you imagine somebody like that having a dream? It wasn't pole dancing. That was my dream. I ended up being the pole. But she was amazing. She had a dream. You know what her dream was? She wanted to make a difference for all people to stop passing judgment. She wanted people with disabilities to have jobs, equal opportunity, and living life to the fullest. She wanted to make a difference. She wrote a book. I raised my eyes to say yes. She wrote a book, and she wanted to do motivational speaking. But she couldn't talk. How the hell is she going to do that if she can't talk? She finally got another computer. She ended up writing everything by blinking her eyes, a whole amazing speech on people with disabilities and making a difference in their lives. And her assistant, Sarah, would write it, type it up, and then speak it into a tape recorder. And what they would do is they would reel Ruth onto the stage, and she'd be like this, looking at the audience, and her assistant would come and hit the tape recorder for her voice to go out. But you know what the problem was? The audience wouldn't look at her. She was hard to look at. So she's looking at the audience to make some kind of connection with society after being isolated for so long. She's looking, and she's like this, and everybody's looking down. While Ruth was going through this, I'm in Hollywood doing the Tonight Show, HBO, whatever I'm doing. Well, I had to do the Tonight Show for the 3rd time. And when you do the Tonight Show, you have to tell them what your act is, otherwise they won't okay you. I wanted to do the Ruth bit on the Tonight Show. They said no. I said, why? Well, you know, it's a disability thing, and, you know, people might feel offended and that, so. Do you ever have something you want to do so bad in your heart, and then somebody says no? It's a good thing I'm deaf. Hey, the show's taped live. What are you going to do, take the mic from me? I did it on the Tonight Show. It was a huge hit. I get a phone call a couple of days later. Hello, Sarah who? Ruthie's assistant. I go, oh. Do you ever have one of those panic calls when you go, I'm in trouble? I thought that. I go, yeah, what's going on? Well, Ruth started on the Tonight Show. Yep. She wants to know if she can get a copy of the show. I said, why? And she explained to me what she was going through. She wanted to play, this is how smart Ruth was. She figured if she played the Tonight Show first, before they wheel her onto the stage, she can get the audience to see her through my eyes and not place the judgment by themselves. Smart thinking. Can I ask you guys to turn off the monitor with the numbers? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, people are more deaf than I am here. And, so anyway, so Ruth went through this. She made a difference in the lives of thousands. I want you to take a moment, just one moment. Can you imagine your life if you woke up in the morning and you can't move a muscle in your body but open your eyes? And you stare at the ceiling waiting for somebody to come in the door to take care of you? Can you imagine that? And it can be somebody you like, somebody you don't like. It could be somebody who's rough with you, somebody who's not rough with you. But they come in and they clean you. They take the catheter out, they change your catheter, maybe your diapers, I don't know. Take the tube out of your throat, give you a shot so you can start breathing on your own. Clean you, brush your teeth, wash your hair, anything. Get you dressed, go to feed you. They can feed you too fast or not fast enough. You have no voice. You can't have a voice to defend yourself. Can you imagine that life? The food could be too hot or too cold. You have no voice. Is this the life you want? Is this the life you want? Ruth made a difference in the lives of thousands. And all she could do was blink her eyes, and she managed to find a voice to be heard. Each and every one of you will be able to walk out of this room today. Each and every one of you will be able to feed yourself. Each and every one of you will be able to say, hug somebody, to say, I love you to somebody, when Ruth could never do that in her whole life. Each and every one of you can go to the bathroom by yourself. Well, unless you're a girl, you tend to go in pairs. Each and every one of you have the perfect body for you. When was the last time you thanked your legs for walking? When was the last time you thanked yourself to be able to feed yourself? When was the last time you thanked God and looked in the mirror and said thank you? When's the last time you said I love you to yourself? When? We take ourselves for granted. We don't stop to think of everything we have. We don't stop to think how we can move and go forward. Oh no, but you don't understand. I'm not confident. I can't. Get that freaking word out of your vocabulary. I hate that word. Ruth made a difference in the lives of thousands. I love that little body. She had a great sense of humor. One day, somebody forgot to give her shot, and they went to feed her, and she starved to death. She choked to death. But she made a difference in the lives of thousands in 1 year. And you're going to tell me you can't do something with all you have? Start counting your blessings. Start counting your blessings. You got one shot at this life. I'm going to tell you right now, before I forget. Little do you know, you guys are my heroes. What you went through to get here, you are already taking charge of your life by coming to Paul Mitchell School to create a career for yourself, to provide for yourself and your family. So I think you guys owe an applause right there for that alone. Everything you'll ever hear in my routine is based on truth, okay? I was in school for retardation for several years. A lot of people say, oh my God, that's terrible. I say no. In that school, among those kids, there were no judgments passed. Can you imagine? In that school, it wasn't what you couldn't do, but what we could do. And in that school, it wasn't the value of words and communication, but what our hearts had to say. And in that school, there was a little boy that pissed me off. He only had one arm. And for some stupid reason, I actually believe he kept that one arm at home just to make me mad. I got stuck with him every day for Ring Around the Rosie. Not bad enough, I can't hear the music. I got nothing to hold on to over here. I was 8 years old when they found out I was deaf. 8 years is a long time to go without language. Without language, you cannot connect. You don't understand love. But more importantly, you don't have a voice to protect yourself. When they found out I was deaf, they took me to another school where I met my teacher, Miss Joan Daly. I prayed to the high heaven that every child meets a teacher like my Miss Joan Daly. Miss Joan Daly taught me how to talk. No, we haven't found a teacher to teach me how to shut up. Miss Joan Daly taught me how to talk through a balloon. She'd take a balloon, blow it up, tie it in a knot, and place it right here on the throat and chest. And then I put my hand on the balloon, and I could feel the vibration of her voice. And then I tried to feel my own vibration, and I imitated. She would say apple. Ah, apple. Nope. Apple. Kathy, honey, I know you can do this. Feel the vibration. Apple. Lord, you start. Because your apple's wrong, my apple's right. I don't like apples. Let's do Nana. And then we would fight. Sometimes we work on one word for 2 weeks until I feel the vibration articulated just like her. I often wondered if she was from New York. I adored this human being. She was the first person I made a connection with at 8.5 years old. I was in a class with one other student, Michael. Michael and I both had the same hearing loss. She used to say, whoever does the very best at the end of the week, I'm gonna take you out for hamburgers, french fries, and a milkshake. But you better believe Michael and I, we were busting lips. And do you know, every Friday, both Michael and I were in this hamburger joint looking at each other going, I did better than you. Hey, what are you doing here? She didn't want one to be better than the other. She just wanted us to give the best that we had to give. She was amazing. At night, I would go under my covers with a mirror and a flashlight, and I'd try to remember everything Miss Joan Daly's lips did that day. And I mimic it in the mirror. I knew if I wanted to be a part of this world, I needed to learn how to talk. But more than anything else, I just wanted to make her proud of me. I hated the weekend. I didn't have connection with my family. They did what the doctors said. When Monday mornings would come in, I would run into the classroom, drop my coat off on the floor, run up to her and tell her everything that happened that weekend in my best speech possible. I was spitting on this lady. And never once did that beautiful human being ever have a question mark on her face. She just sat there. I just saw her face as clear as day. That precious face. She was the only person I could connect with for the first time in my life. I had her for 2 years. It was the only time in my life I felt like a normal child, is when I got to sit there and just share with her without her trying to fix me or correct me or anything. She was amazing. I love that human being. When I was 18, I went back to look for her. I wanted to thank her for being in my life. Unfortunately, she died in a car crash. I never got to say thank you. But I know she's with me. Because every time I use the F word, I get this little slap upside the head. I don't know why. I can enunciate that with no problem. I had her for 2 years of my life, and they said, you know what, we're going to give her hearing aids. They gave me this big battery pack thing with wires, and they sent me to public school. I had no business being in public school. I stole money, candy, food. From my mother's house to give to the kids. I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be accepted. I just wanted to be a part of this crazy world. In 6th grade, they took my hearing aids away from me. The rest of my life was about lip reading. I didn't understand. See, when you're deaf, you can't see the sounds missing. You can see the little boy's arms missing, but you can't see what's missing here if you've never heard it. So the rest of my school years was all lip reading, but the teachers would have her back to us and I can't see her lips. The kids are talking in the classroom and I try to find their lips and then somebody else's lips. I have no idea what's going on. I graduated from high school with a 1-point average. By the time I graduated from high school, I tried committing suicide 5 different times. Now, there are going to be some things I'm not going to be successful at. And there's not a day that goes by where I don't thank God for letting me fail at least 5 different times. I had no dreams, no goals. Nobody taught me to have dreams and goals. When I graduated from high school, I got a job in a warehouse, ticketing merchandise. One day it was my day off. I decided to go to the beach. I wanted to get me some color. While I was laying on the beach sunbathing, the lifeguard Jeep ran me over. Talk about not knowing what your job description is. The Jeep ran over my face, stomach, chest, side, and back. I was laid up for 5 years. I was in and out of a wheelchair for 2.5 years. They said I'd never walk again. I figured I didn't hear them. I got up and I left. When I finally started walking, I packed my car up from from Cleveland, Ohio, drove my car to California, lived in my car for a few months. I had no idea where I was going. I met a young lady. She was looking for a roommate. I moved in with her. 2 years later, I found out I had cancer. After a while, you get a little pissed off. I went in, I had the surgery. Doctor said they got everything. I'm like, yes. 6 months later, I get a phone call. Kathy, we didn't get it. I didn't know what to do. I'm pacing in my apartment. Do I have the surgery again? Do I not? I spent the first 20 years of my life trying to kill myself. I finally died, and then I decided to stay. And now you're telling me if I don't have the surgery, I have 6 months to 6 years to live? There's a mirror on my wall. I swear, it was like a hand came out of that glass, hit me in the back of the head, pressed my face up against the glass, and said, what's your name? Kathy. What's your favorite color? Pink. Pink, Mary likes pink. I like pink. Blue. Yeah, I like blue. Joe likes blue. What's your favorite food? I don't know. I eat anything anybody else is eating. I'm looking in the glass. I don't have a clue as to who the hell I am. I, a perfect child of God, and society took me by the back of the neck and said, here, you're going to be retarded. Well, this is okay. I can do this. I like what's going on here. No. Now you're deaf. You're going through school. Wow, I love Miss Joan Daly. I'm going to be just like her. No. Now you're going to go to public school. I don't understand the teacher. The kids are making fun of me. Mom, if you just listen to me, I could tell you who's touching me. You can get them to stop touching me. No. Now you're going to get run over by a Jeep and you're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. God, please don't forsake me like this. I can't live like this. No. Now I'm going to give you cancer and I'm going to give you 6 months to 6 years to live. Now hear this. How dare you say I cannot talk? How dare you say I cannot walk? How dare you say I cannot have a life? How dare me for listening to you? Our whole life listening to people. We put labels on. If somebody says you're not smart enough, you believe it. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you get to choose the words that you want to keep in your life, in your vocabulary. You get to choose who you want to be. I'm going to share something with you I haven't shared. This past year was a very difficult year for me. My mom and dad were at that age, and I was flying back to Ohio from California every month for 10 days, taking care of them. Because apparently we're not allowed to kill him. Is that wrong? My dad ended up with dementia. It was my dad who was molesting me. If I give you any gift today, this is the gift I want to give you. The gift of choice. It was a gift given to me the day I died on the Jeep accident. A gift that everyone should treasure. The choice to choose from right, from wrong, to protect yourself or not. It's a choice. I worked it out with my dad. It took about 10 years. But we had a beautiful relationship for 30 years. It was awesome. But I have to say, every time I went to the nursing home and we talked, he always knew who I was. He was often these fantasy hallucinations. This man, even though he may have physically abused me, emotionally, psychologically, I remember the gift choice when I died at the scene of the Jeep accident. The best gift you can possibly give yourself is to forgive others. You see, it doesn't take a lot of energy to love. Because when you do, it feels good. But it takes a lot of energy to hate. And it doesn't feel good. I am so glad because the last 3 days of my dad's life, I asked him at the hospital, can I be in a room with 2 beds? He goes, sure. I put the bed together. And I slept with my dad for 3 nights in a row. You see, what I did is I took the label dad off of him. I took the label pedophile off of him. And I put the label on child of God. Because I will love every one of God's children, in spite of the mistakes they've made in their past. So if you have somebody you have to forgive in your life, this is what I ended up doing. I took a big poster board and I wrote down all the people I felt I needed to forgive that hurt me or made me feel bad about myself. And I wrote down all the things that they did and next to it as to why, how, and what they did. And then I wrote next to it, how is it affecting me? How is it stopping me from living my life the way I want to live it? And then I wrote next to that, because everything that happens in life is a lesson. Good or bad is how you take it. You hear me? It's how you take it. You can't be responsible for other people's actions. You can only be responsible for how you react to their actions or their words. And then in the last line, I wrote down what did I learn from it? And then the last line, you know what I wrote? Gratitude. Thank you for the experience. Thank you for the strength to give me to love unconditionally in spite of somebody else's words and actions. Because you know what? Nobody's gonna love you more than you. You are responsible for your happiness. I have the worst vocabulary ever. Well, except for shit. That's still a good word, right? I got it from my mom, because she was the most negative person. I even did it with my mom. I took all the labels off of her. Mom, wife, ex-wife, ex-wife. All the things that she put labels on as you grow up, and when I looked at her for who she is, she was a little girl that was scared of herself and never loved herself. I made a vow to love her in spite of her. I have the most beautiful relationship with my mother because she's still a child of God. I call her 3 times a day. Love is there. I'm asking you, have no expectations on somebody else, because once you put expectations on someone else's life, you have just disappointed yourself. You can't ask somebody to behave in the way you want them to. You can only react to how they behave. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility. I give you a gift today, the gift of choice. I want you to go home. I know what it's like not to walk for a while. I know what it's like to fight cancer. Any time in your life can change. At any time, anything can happen to you in a split second. So please, Take responsibility for your physical being. This is your house. This is a gift given to you by God. Treat it with the respect that if you were to give the gift to somebody else that you treasure, treat it with respect. Look in the mirror. Say, I love you. Say, I respect you and honor you. Say that. Because even though I may not know each and every one of you here, I do honor you. I respect you. And I love you. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you. Love you.